But enough of the future. Right now, we got the semifinals game going down here of Cup number 3. KitPakat, Sigma Pact, and Nevep here on the Sweethearts. They're going to go up against Team YeaYea's, as somebody actually just left. Who just left? X-Teen and Nevep both disconnected, as well as Vathor. Oh, it's not S-Draft. There we go. Now it's S-Draft. It's a good idea to, use the right rules here. But we are going to get going here with Joho, Vathor, as well as Nevep, and they're going to be here. Not Nevep, sorry. Joho, Vathor. Who's their healer? X-Teen.
X-Teen.
And they're Team YeaYea's.
And there we go. We got everybody back in here, and kind of difficult to predict, to get a prediction going here. Of course, we saw Vathor, Juho, and X-Teen play a very solid game, but they are running Alchemists. So look to see how that shapes up against Nevep's team. They do have the EMP, and they have a Stalker. So they're going to have a lot of damage coming out onto Vathor if they manage to catch him out of position. You have to see, what they. Oh my God, Juho, what is this? Juho was kicked. What is going on here? They're like both kicking people out of the game now. And not really sure what's going on, guys.
All right, so
going.
Get the trolling out of your system here, guys.
Serious.
We're going to get ourselves started up. Let's try all that again. Sweethearts here on the warm team. YeaYea's on the cold. BeyondGaming Cup Qualifier. Number 3 semifinals game. Number 2, we're on the first map. I like how it was a 3-2-1 there. And I'm the FourCourtJester. With me is Semmler. We've been hanging out for 2 hours now, as we've watched about 16 or so teams go head-to-head here in the arena. Lots of nerd blood flying and insanity damage going down. Semmler, you have the funniest expressions, man.
Yeah, dude. Can't take full credit for those. I do watch quite a bit of Artosis and Tasteless. So they rub off on me quite a bit. But that's the thing. It's you love what they do, but you're just like, BLC is not the same kind of game. You don't have all of this time to really get the jokes going and really get these stories and whatnot flowing, because BLC is so quick paced and fast that it's really just straight to the action. You get into the game, you got people dying left and right. You don't have really much time to do what they do. So I'd love to be like, oh yeah, and tell a story or something, but it's like, oh yeah, I told the story and 2 people died in the meantime. Not gonna work.
All right, so yeah, with that time frame in mind, let's get this going. Vathor going to jump over here to Nevep. Nevep playing very defensive, but look at Sigma Pact, no fear, goes right into X-Teen, gets feared out, however, and it does look like KitPakat got hit pretty hard there. Joho with that execute. Now Joho is one of those top tier gunners of the game. It looks like he's focusing more on engineer rather than Sigma Pact, which is probably a better idea. Sigma Pact can be very mobile when he wants to, but no, misses the Joho right there as Vathor is taking some big damage jumping into KitPakat. We do have the ultimate of Cyclonic going down. Nevep taking a lot of damage, but with that space down, the goo goes down from KitPakat, as well as the machine gun right into Vathor's face. So, big incapacity going down onto X-Teen as Sigma Pact going to jump in here with Joho. Going to jump over here to X-Teen, switch it up a little bit. Keeps missing the dashes like that, but Joho is actually not going to be lasting too much longer. We did have a shrink go down on KitPakat, and it looks like it did at least a decent amount of damage. The clarity goes down onto Joho, trying to keep them very separate here as X-Teen desperately trying to get back here to Joho with the other side. But no, we missed the swap because Joho did the rocket jump. Gets off that blind onto Sigma, but now they are still very apart at this point, and boom, she goes down. Nevep going to jump up here with the flamethrower, but gets feared instead. X-Teen's definitely going down, though.
Yeah, that's what happened, is Vathor, they had so much work out for them there. They managed to get the double ultimates going off. Guardian Spirit comes out and followed up by a Cyclonic Strike. So you have insanity damage, using that term, insanity damage coming out. We had Nevep so close to death, and Vathor just kind of overextended at that point. He decided to stay in and try and get that kill on Nevep, but Nevep is machine gunning to his heart's content. It's not going to work. We had a bit of an overextension when they were really in the lead. So had Vathor got into a better position for himself and maybe not cut himself off from his healer, we would have seen a different outcome there. But, he is aware of what he did. We did see that in the team chat. So we'll see, if they tighten up the game a little bit, maybe work more on the positioning. As, Sigma and Nevep, Kippa, they're kind of getting forced out here. We have a good zoning game. And Juho really just controlling the field. This is what Gunner excels at. Just controlling her enemies from a distance, making sure that they pay for every step trying to get in on them to do damage. And we're seeing it's working, you know, because he's already got his ulti. Vathor getting in there with a nice little M1 to Kipikat's face. Gonna try and get it off there, but there it is. Rockets come out. Nevep taking the brunt of it, followed by a Cyclonic Strike. Beautiful coordination out of Cold Team there, but the machine gun rolls out. Juho just trying to dodge. He is stealth. At the same time, Segment Pact is, you know, on the hunt, landing those 31 M1 damage, 31 damage M1s. It's just too much damage, but you know, they get forced back into their spawn, and this is not where they want to be, especially with Vathor and Juho sitting pretty there together. A lot of damage going on to Sigma Pact, and we do have Spiritual Link coming out from Xteen, who is rocking the Guardian Spirit. So damage is going to get spread out across the team right now. This is an excellent time to, you know, start landing some pressure here as Juho with the point blank execute to Nevep's face, takes him out. This is a 3 versus 2, and I cannot see how Sigma can make a difference here as the Black Dagger is missed. They have no CC, and that is it. 3 versus 1, Sigma all alone, and that's what needed to happen last round. We had the Rockets into a beautiful Cyclonic Strike. Vathor in an excellent position, not cut off from his healer, and not overextended. Nevep just got rocked, and from that point on, he's forced onto his back foot. He's forced to play defensive, and they, you know, they just keep riding that. They keep the pressure on and come out with the win. So, you know, this is about as close as it gets, man. I really, you know, it's really hard to call this because if they make a mistake, they're going to lose. So it's really coming down to, you know, who is going to make that first mistake on positioning.
Well, it definitely looked like that Sweethearts was the ones on the back foot. And yeah, Sigma definitely looks like he's playing a little too aggressive in that last game, a little bit out of position. But they also could not just seem to land the damage onto Joho, and she controlled the match very well. And you kind of see that sitting again right now. Joho staying way in the back as Vathor jumps into the front with Kipikat on his mind. Sigma Pact is already down to half, however, has not received any heals, but oh, not a good place to get double ultimate. And Vathor with the help of Xteen and those soul links, just the Cyclonic Strike doing work. Look at Sigma Pact. He's going to go down to a rocket jump, not even a targeted hit ability right there, but wow, that was some massive pressure in that hallway. And look at Vathor, 361, even Xteen, 186 damage from Soul Boat as well as Spiritual Link, a 55 Spiritual Link and a 22 Soul Bind. That's ridiculous right there, but huge burst coming in that hallway. That got them here 2-1 now.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about, man. You know, they're just performing at a higher level right now. They're managing to get those ultimates to combo, and if you manage to do that, you will get the win. As you know, what Vathor and Juho are doing, you know, it's beautiful. Juho is keeping Nevep focused on herself, you know, keeping him out of the fight and unable to get the EMPs, the shrinks, to help his teammates. And in the meantime, Vathor and Xteen, you know, great job coordinating the Guardian Spirit and Cyclonic Strike, but already Vathor getting a little bit pressured here. He does have this full ulti though, so we're gonna have to see. Double comes out onto Kipikat. Nevep with the machine gun though, trying to get some counter pressure going out, but Vathor with the other side. Great EMP, but are they in any kind of position to capitalize? Not really. Kipikat sitting on the full ulti, gonna get that onto Vathor. Vathor with the dispersion, not gonna get procs, and a great use of EX space there to reposition and get himself out of the goo. That's what needs to happen. Black Dagger is used on Xteen, who does pop Guardian Spirit, so this is going to be a time for burst damage right now. They're getting in there, double soul boats going out on Kipikat, forces that barrier, who is kind of off position here. Black Dagger, oh, bit of a miscommunication there. Instant injection onto Black Dagger, not going to take any kind of damage, and Xteen is sitting pretty right now in the middle. Sigma trying to keep the damage rolling, but we have a triple or double Cyclonic Strike by Vathor. Great use of that ability there. Going to get a lot of AoE damage and AoE pressure out onto Warm Team as Vathor, though, forced to kind of reposition himself, get back. But look at that. You know, Cyclonic Strike just came out. He's already back up to like 80% on meter. That is so much damage. Good use of meter there as Kipikat and Juho just going to go toe-to-toe right now. And we have a bit of a reset here. They're going to be kind of sitting back, trying to feel each other out, look for that opening as Sigma misses the puncturing strike, nails the Black Dagger though, and Vathor may be overextending here as though, oh no, Cyclonic Strike, Nevep gonna bleed out, and he does! He goes down, Sigma all alone, and Nevep, that is such a pity. He was sitting on a full ultimate, had the machine gun, had a large come out, maybe he would have had the outside chance of staying alive, but at this point, Xteen with the Guardian Spirit, this is just too much of a life lead. Juho is really remaining unpressured throughout these matches. They really need to find something that works to shut him down, because he has got free reign right now to just be as annoying as possible. You know, with 751 damage done that round, that is not something you could ignore at all. And Sigma just all alone trying to play Chase the Stalker. Doesn't work as well as Chase the Ranid. But yeah, just this is we are seeing just a higher level play coming out of the Cold team right now. They definitely deserve these wins that they've been getting. Sweetheart needs to step it up a little bit and perhaps, work more on CC. They have the triple cleanse, but they're not chaining those CCs together like we've seen them do in the past. Black Dagger is a great way to lead into concussive shot or sleep, and we are not seeing that happen whatsoever. So need to see just a little bit more teamwork, a little bit more coordination coming out of Sweethearts here to see them, make a comeback here as they are down one map already.
Yeah, we're going to jump into the second map here of the second semifinals game here, guys. And once again, big thanks out there to Justin TV, QPad, and Thermal Take for, fueling the passion of these gamers as they are competing for cash, for gear, as well as some blood coins coming out from Sunlock Studios. So we're going to jump into here, Kojo, the Pygmy Village, and no change up to the lineups. Typically, you won't see any kind of big change here to any kind of team as we don't have any, picks or bans kind of sequences. But we were going to have to see what Sweethearts can do this round. So, big area of improvement. Stalker has been missing a lot of his lunges, so he could definitely try to get those going, or maybe even a combo. But we do see Nivette landing a lot of incapacitates, especially onto Joho. But they really need to try to keep Joho a little bit more busier, as she's just been controlling these matches like a boss. So right now, Vathor jumps right in there. Joho already defensively spacing. He's going to be trying to get out. There's another incapacitate from Nivette, and again, Sigma just not really able to land those lunges right there. Vathor is going to be a big target right now, gets lots of healing off between himself as well as XT. Joho with the execute, lands it onto Nivette. Nivette has that machine gun ready to go, and does look like it lands off a good amount, but the other side onto Vathor is going to shoot that. We do have an ultimate ready to go. Vathor with the Cyclonic gets the kill onto Kipigat. Kipigat threw down her goo. Her goo are another thing of question here in these matches. A lot of them not really the best of positioning. Maybe we should start seeing some more EXs coming out, but Nivette's going to go down as well. Sigma Pact, again, trying his best, but look at the real health left on these guys. They were not taking any kind of big pressure at all, tanking, 94, 231, 310, and, that's just looking, like a great healer right there.
That's the beauty of, of course, Pomp with the other side is going to be able to avoid a lot of the damage, but really the key ability here is Chain Heal. As soon as you do a lot of damage to Vathor or any of his teammates, he can just chuck Chain Heal out there and negate it completely. So it makes, lining up that burst so difficult right now as Vathor going to go ahead and try and punish Sigma Pact. Sigma Pact, opting to get it really deep, but goes ahead, runs around that pillar, repositions, and right now, Juho is losing the M1 war with Nivette. Nivette doing a good job of keeping the pressure out there. Stalker is, keeping some damage rolling as well. We did have a bit of a mind games going off there between X-Teen and the Stalker as, nice puncturing strikes, but it's not going to be enough. Juho, Vathor there to wrap things up. We had Kipicat sitting in his own goo, chained to death, and I don't know, dude. We're just seeing a completely one-sided fight at this point. Sigma always last man alive. Really, they're just, manhandling Nivette and then following it up with the kill on the Kippa. So, gonna have to see what can they do at this point? This is such a blow to your mental state because you're coming into these tourneys, you got manhandled the first map, and now you're 2 rounds down in the second. You're 1 round away from getting knocked out. What do you do in this sort of situation?
I do not. I have no real answer to that, my friend, because I do not get into these situations because I just don't get this.
Because you're just that baller.
I just don't get this far into tournaments. But as I said, things. Kipikat's goo is not really doing a huge amount of damage or factoring, into the movement of these teams. Sigma, he gets off that lunge right there, but more often than not, he'll jump over and totally whiff it right there. As well as Vathor with these chain heals, as he did say, are able to negate a lot of damage and a lot of pressure. And he can just jump in here. He gets himself 2 or 3 ultimates every round. And then, Nivette with his machine gun, he can land a lot of these, but they are so ready for it. Joho, as soon as that came out, with the rocket jump, we see the other sides come out. There's the Cyclonic doing such great double damage, as I do think he did hit 2 targets right there. And X-Teen with the Guardian, that's a huge amount of burst. You don't expect it, but double soul links and double soul bursts, those add up in a short amount of time. So, what can you do? Just overall improve, read the situations a little bit better, land a bit more here with the accuracy. We got the lunge again, missing the Vathor, but hitting the X-Time that round. But Sigma, you're going to get punted out by X-Teen as Vathor cleans up Kipicat. And Nivette, he has himself another machine gun ready to go, but it's not going to matter. Kaboom right there with the overkill, and there's all of that nerd blood that you were looking for.
FFT could possibly call out, one thing to note is that they are running a double silence comp, yeah. So this is definitely posing a problem for us. That would, was posing a problem, seeing as how past tense now they did move on to the next bracket. But Sigma Pact, relying so heavily on his M1, having to deal with 2 silences must have been hell. Like getting pressure out as a stalker when you have 1 silence to contend with is already difficult. Having 2 of them, if Juho is smart about placing them on there, that's stalker. All of his utility is kind of negated, seeing as how he won't be able to put out that M1 pressure that he really needs. So you have that point, as well as just Kipikat getting completely manhandled. But really, another salient point is Nevep. Nevep, trying to sit on that machine gun when obviously it's not working very well. They have so many tools to get out of it and negate it. Going for the machine gun, maybe not the best choice. Perhaps using enlarges and tractor beams would have been the right strategy to go for. Having that 50% reduced damage on a teammate with enlarge is so huge.